The dark side of DNA testing, privacy concerns and unexpected consequences. Welcome to Exploring Grays, the YouTube channel where we dive into the murky waters of ethics in technology and society. I'm Michael, and I'll be your guide through the complex world of moral ambiguity. Your DNA test results have just been sold to a pharmaceutical company. You never consented to this, but it's perfectly legal. Now imagine receiving a call from a police detective. They've arrested your second cousin twice removed, someone you've never met, because your DNA was a partial match to evidence found at a crime scene. Or picture opening your email to find an insurance denial letter citing genetic predispositions you didn't even know you had. This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. I'm going to show you the hidden world of DNA testing, what happens to your most personal data after you mail that innocent little swab. By the end of this video, you'll understand why millions of people are unwittingly participating in what might be the largest unregulated surveillance system ever created. The consumer DNA testing industry exploded from virtually nothing to a multi-billion-dollar market in just a decade. More than 40 million people have already shared their genetic material with companies like 23andMe, AncestryDNA, and MyHeritage. The sales pitch is compelling. Discover your ancestry, connect with relatives, learn about health predispositions, all wrapped in the excitement of science and self-discovery. But let's ask a crucial question most people never consider. What exactly are you agreeing to when you check that terms of service box? Let me read you something directly from 23andMe's privacy statement. You may consent to allow your genetic information and self-reported information to be used in 23andMe research, which may be conducted by third parties. And from AncestryDNA, you grant us a perpetual, royalty-free, worldwide license to use your DNA and any related information. A perpetual license. Think about what that word means. These companies aren't just analyzing your DNA today. They're securing rights to use it forever, even in ways that haven't been invented yet. But wait, aren't there laws protecting this information? Surprisingly few. The Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act only covers health insurance and employment. Most states have no specific laws governing genetic privacy. Law enforcement can access these databases with varying degrees of judicial oversight. There are virtually no regulations on selling anonymized genetic data to third parties. I recently considered getting a DNA test myself. My father died when I was young, and I've always been curious about that side of my family. The possibility of connecting with unknown relatives was genuinely appealing. But then I began researching for this video, and what I discovered gave me serious pause. Let's look at 3 real-world scenarios that have already happened. 1. The Golden State Killer was caught in 2018 not because his DNA was in a database, but because his relative's DNA was on GED match. This is called forensic genetic genealogy, and it's now being used in thousands of cold cases. 2. In 2018, 23andMe sold access to its database to GlaxoSmithKline, a pharmaceutical giant, for $300 million. Your genetic information is literally being monetized. 3. In 2020, the Pentagon warned military personnel against taking commercial DNA tests, citing potential negative consequences for military members with access to sensitive information. If the Pentagon is concerned, shouldn't you be? I find myself in a strange contradiction when thinking about genetic privacy. On one hand, I'm fascinated by the medical breakthroughs that large-scale genetic research could enable. Treatments for rare diseases, precision medicine, deeper understanding of our human story. On the other hand, I'm deeply troubled by the permanent, irreversible nature of sharing genetic data. You can change your password if it's compromised. You can get a new credit card if yours is stolen. But you cannot change your genetic code. It's the most permanent identifier you possess. Many of you may be worried about facial recognition with concerns about biometric privacy. DNA is the ultimate biometric identifier, and your concerns were prescient. I'd like you to share in the comments, have you taken a DNA test? If so, did you read the terms of service before consenting? Be honest, this is a judgment-free zone. Let's map out the interconnected nature of genetic privacy issues. One strand represents the benefits: ancestry information, health insights, family connections, and medical research. The opposing strand represents the risks: surveillance, discrimination, commercial exploitation, and permanent identification. Every connection between these strands represents a choice point where society must decide how to balance these competing interests. Here's something critical that most people don't realize. When you consent to share your DNA, you're not just making a decision for yourself. You're making it for your entire biological family, past, present, and future. If your sister takes a DNA test, she's effectively putting about 50% of your DNA in that database too. If your first cousin takes the test, about 12.5% of your DNA is exposed. This means that even if you personally choose never to take a DNA test, your genetic privacy may already be compromised by relatives who have. Researchers estimate that over 90% of Americans of European descent can already be identified through existing genetic databases, whether they've personally taken a test or not. I know we're covering complex and somewhat technical material, so let's take a moment to organize the different perspectives on this issue. DNA testing companies are businesses with shareholder obligations. They've created innovative products that millions of people voluntarily use. Their terms of service are legally binding contracts, and most companies do make efforts to protect privacy within the constraints of their business model. Most consumers are primarily interested in ancestry information or health insights. Few read the full terms of service or understand the long-term implications of genetic data sharing. There's a significant knowledge asymmetry between companies and their customers. Genetic databases represent an unprecedented tool for solving violent crimes and bringing closure to victims' families. The Golden State Killer case alone involved 12 murders, 50 rapes, and over 100 burglaries, crimes that might never have been solved without genetic genealogy. Large genetic databases could accelerate medical breakthroughs and help develop treatments for rare diseases. The collective benefit might outweigh individual privacy concerns for some people. Imagine this. It's 2045. Your future child applies for health insurance, a job, or a loan, and is denied based on genetic information you shared decades earlier. Information that revealed predispositions to certain conditions or statistical risks that weren't even understood when you took that test. How would you feel knowing that your decision today could affect your children's opportunities tomorrow? This isn't just about privacy. It's about genetic determinism and the danger of reducing human beings to their genetic code. In our next video, we'll be exploring the emerging field of epigenetics, how lifestyle and environment can actually change how your genes express themselves, challenging the genetic determinism that often accompanies discussions of DNA. We'll also be looking at the countries beginning to implement national genetic databases and the implications for civil liberties globally. I want to hear your experiences. Have you discovered something unexpected through DNA testing? Are you concerned about genetic privacy, or do you think the benefits outweigh the risks? Share your perspective in the comments below. For those who have taken DNA tests, what would you do differently if you could go back in time, knowing what you know now? As we navigate this brave new world of genetic information, we're forced to confront a profound question. Who owns your genetic code? Is it you? The companies that analyze it? The relatives who share large portions of it? Or should it be considered part of our collective human heritage? Your DNA contains the story of not just you, but thousands of ancestors who came before you. In sharing it, what responsibilities do we have to them, and to generations yet unborn? Remember to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Help us to reach more people. This is the Exploring Grays channel, challenging the black and white narratives around technology and ethics. Remember to question, consider, and think critically about the choices we make today that will shape our tomorrow.